And we are live. What is going on, everybody? Okay, I see some people already in here. All right. They can't wait to get their reactions to UFC 281. Alex Pereira pulls it off in the 5th round, very similar to Leon Edwards in the Kamaru Usman. Hey, my Nigerian brothers out there, y'all gonna have to get it together. All right.
I told him, like, if I'm Francis Ngannou, I'm terrified right now. The Africans, they dropping quick at this point.
And shout out to my man, Mr. OTR Mike. He had picked Pereira to win this fight. Okay. Now I know there's some people on the last stream that try to diss my man Mikey, saying he don't know UFC. Listen, he picked the winner. Okay?
I know how to pick a winner. That's all I'm saying. I know how to pick a winner. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's up, Deshaun?
What's up, Deshaun? Says Izzy fumbled so bad. He did. What's going on? Noah says, let's go, Noah? Alex and Dustin, the big dub tonight. Yes, indeed.
You're just gonna leave Zhang out of that, man?
Yeah, Zhang Wei Li got her title back, man. Salute to her.
Yeah.
Salute to her. Yes. Noah said he was right there with you. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, Pereira. Look, he proved himself worthy of that fight, because honestly, I didn't think he should have been able to get that fight. And they were saying it up until that round that he got fast tracked to that fight, and really, somebody Izzy, who had his first takedown in his career, and look, I mean, they both looked lost on the ground, but Izzy had a little bit more experience, and that looked like that was going to be the advantage in the fight, because Pereira looked gassed. But he had had a little bit left in the tank there at the end, and Izzy was still trying to grapple, or grab him. I think that's where he went wrong there, and he got caught. So,
yeah, I mean, I think in the 5th, he should have tried to take him down again. I mean, but because there's always going to be danger there when you got a guy who is back up to 210, 215 pounds on fight night. He's 30 pounds over the class limit. So there's always going to be danger on the feet. I think he should have tried to take him down, but with Pereira being much bigger than him, it was hard for him to even attempt to get him on the ground.
Yeah.
I didn't like the stoppage. I thought they could have let it go a little bit. Izzy was still up. He was still trying to avoid the shots, but it is what it is. If you avoid the first few, then you're not in that position anyway.
Yeah. So, Mikey, man, look, you are new to the UFC world, okay? Mm-hmm. And you picked this man as your champion, all right? And now he's holding the belt, man. How do you feel?
Look, the dude is like, when you guys introduced him to me, like, I'm like, yo, this dude looks mean, right? Like, this dude like looks menacing. So I liked his style. I honestly thought he was losing the fight up until that moment, though. I think if they fight again, I think Izzy beats him. But look, one thing I'm learning about UFC is, like, the fight ain't over till it's over, right?
Yes.
And it's, everybody, I mean, in boxing, everybody has a puncher's chance, but in UFC, it just seems like the chances are a little more heightened in those moments where, like, you got to be on, like they said on the telecast, he had to fight a clean 25 minutes, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't take any time off or whatever, and because this guy has the power to knock you out, and that's ultimately what happened. So, clearly he was fast tracked, but I mean, the dude, he seems to have it, right? I mean, obviously he got some things to work on. Like you said, he looked gassed going into that 5th round. Early in the fight, first round, he got saved by the bell. He's about to get dropped himself. But hey, again, what I'm learning UFC, you got to take it to the bell.
Yeah, facts. And shout out to King 95. Thanks for coming through, man. King says, no punching power from Izzy, strictly relied on counters. Now, I brought this up because I didn't mention that in the first round, Alex Pereira almost got knocked out.
Yeah, I
The
wouldn't
belt,
say
the
no punching power.
like he was doing the whole wobbly thing. His head was rocking. Like if there was a couple seconds more left in that first round, that'd have been an early night.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the thing with Adesanya is, yeah, like he's not like a huge knockout artist, but he has power in those punches, especially when you don't see them coming. And Pereira felt it. Fat Boy Kyle, what's going on? He says, them Nigerian boys can't defeat the fifth round. That's a fact, man. That's a fact. Mr. J the Six, thanks for coming through. Says Izzy was cute and was doing his usual defending technique, but refs should have let it go until he was KO'd. I agree. I can't call it a bad stoppage, but the thing is, he is the champion. Those last few shots didn't really land, and yes, he looked a little wobbly, but Alex Pereira was gassed. So I wanted to see, could he really finish him? It's hard to say it's a bad stoppage, right? When a fighter's hurt, but I don't know. I don't think I'd have stopped it right there.
I think the problem is, because we've talked about fighter safety before and wanting
Yeah.
to stop it earlier rather than later, but you want consistency, right? I mean, and we haven't talked about it yet, but Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, Poirier was rocked in the first round and was eating punches, and they didn't stop it.
Yeah.
You can argue maybe he wasn't hurt as bad as Adesanya was, but that's where you kind of run into where's the line, right? And in that situation, like you said, he's the champion. He's winning the fight pretty clearly. You probably want to see him get the opportunity to work his way out of that.
Yeah, especially right there. Like I said, like he was tired. How many more times was he going to try to throw right there? You know what I mean? Like when a person doesn't go down when you think he's gonna go down. Like yeah, I mean he was ready to go, but could he finish? Right. That's what I would have wanted to see right there. But I can't really call it a bad stoppage. I didn't like it, but I can't call it a bad stoppage.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. I saw what Noah saw. Right, it did look like his hands was down. He kind of looked like he was in one of these,
But he does that a lot. That's the thing, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, again, I'm new to this UFC thing, so I'm not sure if that's something that you guys have seen before. I'm not even sure how long they usually go. It did seem kind of quick though, of what I've seen in the few matches that I've checked out, that they usually let these guys like hit the mat and be out. So
yeah, with a couple hammer fists to be sure.
Yeah, right.
Refs get in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, like you said, it's hard to say it's a bad stoppage, but because he was out on his feet, he was hurt.
My problem with it is, I mean, and not to cut you off, Mike, I'm sorry, but
No.
he was bobbing and weaving, right? He was trying to avoid the punches rather than trying to clinch him. But my thing with being out on his feet, like he went down. He went down after one of the punches. He fell to the ground, and the ref didn't stop it then.
Yeah.
He got back up, and then he started trying to bob and weave and dodge the punches again, and that's when you stopped it. I'm like, if you're not going to stop it when he went down, why are you stopping it after he got back up and was trying to avoid the punches again?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's see. Deshaun says, I think this is a consequence of Izzy not valuing power. He always acted like he didn't need it, and now things caught up with him. No, I think he no, I mean he fought a good fight. He was winning the fight, right? He's winning the fight. Anybody can get caught. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how strong you are, like anybody can get beat. The man almost got knocked out in the first round, right? Alex Pereira almost got knocked out in the first round. So I wouldn't say he doesn't value power, but he understands, like you said, precision, is more important, which he's absolutely right.
And you're looking at a guy in Pereira who is much, much bigger than him, and he's dangerous through all five.
And he's
rounds.
Skilled, yeah. Like he's a skilled fighter. So it's not like he was fighting a bum out there, right? Pereira is an excellent kickboxer. He had a great career as a kickboxer. So Look, I'm not going to take anything away from Pereira. He's looked excellent. You know, uh, Chris Aguilera said, "Oh, Chris, is that our guy Chris? Chris just joking." He says, "What's good, fellas? Izzy let his ego get the best of him. Should have kept making a grappling match instead of standing up with them. Yeah, that's just not his thing, right?
Yeah.
That like when he got him down, they both look uncomfortable, right? they both looked uncomfortable, but Izzy had a little bit more experience there. And I was yelling the whole time too. I was telling him, I was like, when he's trying to take him down, he's up too high. He's trying to take him down by the waist instead of grabbing the legs. Like, I mean, if you gotta get down to the ankles, that's what you see Khabib's camp do all the time, right? But they want to take you down. They hang on to your ankles, and you're just not going to go anywhere, right? Like you try to escape. They got both of their arms around your ankles, and they will hug you until you fall to the ground. You should have done something like that, especially with a taller fighter, right? When you have him standing up like that, go down real quick, grab his legs, wrap him up, pull him down.
I think that a lot of people that we're hearing here is that a lot of people are just kind of underrating Pereira's power. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's not just your regular everyday power. I mean, you got to remember, Adesanya moved up and fought a dude whose nickname is Polish Power, and that dude couldn't hurt him. Like Pereira is on a different level when you're talking about his punching power, and and I say Adesanya got caught, and like you said, grappling and going to the ground aren't his strengths. So I understand why maybe he wasn't as eager to do that. I mean, he's one of the best defensive fighters in the world. He thought, hey, I can probably last this last round without getting knocked out. And he was just wrong.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. Like, the man has beat him twice, right? And even though it wasn't in this arena, like, there has to be somewhere in the back of your mind, right? And and in the front of Pereira's mind, like, he's thinking, I could beat this dude. I beat him twice. I personally think, in watching that, where he got tripped, right, where they were saying that they thought he hurt him, and when he rolled over and he got tripped, I honestly think that woke Pereira up. I think Pereira thought he hurt him, because if you watch that, if you go back and watch from that point, you kind of see Pereira like would pick up the steam a little bit, like that got that second boost right there. Him thinking he hurt him, and he really didn't until he got him over there, and then hit him with that right or whatever it was. But a lot of factors go into situations like that. You know what I mean? But the man beat him. I know if I'm in there with somebody that beat me twice, I'm gonna be thinking about it. Your boy won.
Lord said, your boy won. Alex, stop the fight.
Well, especially, and I know this is gonna stick with Adesanya, especially since the fight that he got knocked out in before, he had hurt Pereira badly in that fight, and they stopped and gave him a standing 8 count, and that's how he survived that fight. Kind of like tonight, where he got saved by the bell, and that's how he survived the first round, and then came back and knocked Adesanya out later. So that's probably gonna stick with him.
Yeah, Joe Rogan said he got hit after the bell. He didn't get hit after the bell. He got hit right before the bell. And man, if there was 10 seconds left in that round, your boy would have been laid out. it was just precision punching. But that's how the fight goes sometimes. Shout out to Keeping It Real. What's going on? It says, I agree. I don't think it was a bad stop, but I would have rather see Izzy either go down on his shield or find a way to work his way out. Yeah, especially with somebody like Pereira, who just doesn't have that much experience. I really would want to see if he could finish, right? Like, obviously, like Pereira has fighting experience, right? Not saying he couldn't have done it, but after been, he was on the ground for about 3 minutes, right? I want to see if he had enough left in the tank to really put Adesanya away right there,
Especially considering, we know how powerful Alex Pereira is, right? And we've seen him knock guys out with one shot, right? And he landed 5 or 6 punches and didn't put him out. Like that speaks to the fact that he was tired. He wasn't, he didn't have the same power at that point, not quite the same power. So I think if you're the ref in that situation, you say, I'm going to give him another, 10, 15 seconds to see if he can work his way out.
Yeah. Because if he does, he wins the fight, But like I said, fighter safety. That's number one. So I can never. I'm not gonna fault a ref for going this judgment right there. What's up, Ferris? Ferris is in here. He says, you know how he survived that first round? Islam.
Ridiculous. But let's talk about some of the other fights on the card. It was a very, very entertaining card, I thought.
Yeah.
With the top three fights. We I really only pay attention to the top three. I mean, we watched all five, but I don't really count those in terms of the card quality all the time. We had Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier, which was kind of nonstop back and forth because Michael Chandler doesn't know what defense is. Dustin Poirier won that by rear naked choke, and what was it in the second round?
No, the third round. I want to say it was the third round. Third round, yeah, it was the third round. Yeah, because you remember the second round was when he fish hooked him, and he was looking at the ref like, "Yo, bro, you're not gonna say nothing about this."
Yeah. So I mean, that was a very entertaining fight, But Michael Chandler, I mean, if he had any fight IQ at all, he would have stopped Dustin in the first round. But he's all go, and I don't know how to throw straight punches, and I don't know how to take my foot off the gas at all. So Dustin was able to work his way back. He exploded Michael Chandler's nose, and just busted his face all up. And then at one point they were on the ground, and Chandler's blood is just leaking all into Poirier's face. It was rather disgusting.
Listen, I'll sit right next to me. I almost threw up.
Okay, that was awful.
Mike, like you didn't see. I don't think you saw that one, but like at that point, Poirier, I mean, he was busting up Chandler, and I forget what the position was, but like Chandler was just bleeding, literally all on his face. And you can tell, like Poirier is like wiping his face and everything.
Chandler got his back, and Poirier wasn't even worried about it. He was trying to get the blood out of his eye. He was disgusted.
Awful. I threw up all over him. I love. Oh no!
The referee in that fight was awful as well. Like you said, Chandler fish hooked him at one point, which is he stuck his fingers into Poirier's mouth and tried to pull his head up so he could get the choke. The referee was standing right there, staring right at him, and didn't say anything. Chandler had Poirier down, like face down on the mat, and was just wailing on the back of his head, which is illegal. And then Poirier he kind of lifts his head up and turns to the ref and just stares at him like, "Yo, what the hell?"
He gave it that evil stare, like, bro, like that was at least 5 times he hit me in the back of your head. You're not gonna say nothing. You're not gonna tell him to stop. Nothing. And he wasn't happy about it. He let him know. So Poirier ends up winning, right? Was a rear naked chokehold. He got him in.
Yeah.
And after the fight, he told Chandler, like, yo, what you did was dirty in there, but they still dapped it up. And before that ref raised his hand, he gave that ref a piece of his mind. He's just like, yo, man, like you saw him stick his fingers in my mouth and raise my head up, bro. Like you saw it, right? But I got the win anyway. So yeah, but like B said, Chandler fights are always, look, I don't think he's that great of a fighter, but they're always exciting. They're always exciting to watch.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah. What's up, Addy? Addy's in the house says Chandler fights are there you go, are exciting, but his IQ is 0. There you go.
Yeah. Which is why he always loses big fights. Next up, the co-main event, we have Zhang Weili against Carla Esparza. Another exciting competitive fight. Zhang Weili is sort of similar to Chandler in that she's 100% all the time, but she actually is a smart fighter and knows how to defend herself and knows how to finish and all that. So she ended up also winning by submission. Actually got Carla Esparza into a sort of they call it a crucifix. She had one of her arms caught between her legs, and she was holding on to the other arm. And Carla Esparza at one point, she was kind of fighting with Weili's arm. Weili had her other arm around Esparza's neck, but it wasn't all the way in because you need 2 hands to choke somebody out. And eventually, Carla Esparza let go of Weili's other hand, and at that point she got the choke, and Carla tapped out immediately. But it was a good competitive fight. Weili back on top though.
Yeah. And shout out to Jedi Master. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for everybody coming through, man. 1:30 in the morning, you hanging out with your boys. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I see some people over there on Facebook and Twitch as well. Hit that follow over at those places as well if you're new. Jedi Master says, I guess Izzy isn't staying up late tonight. Hey, hey. He says, how much did y'all lose? We didn't bet anything on the fight. We don't really. We're not the gambling type. Yeah.
I picked Alex Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. I wanted to go back and address Christian hold on. Christian Arnajo, if I would correct me on that pronunciation. I'd like to get it right here. He says that's a good stoppage. Adesanya has a lot of fights left. He doesn't need to take extra blows. Yeah, I agree. He was already out in the time of the stoppage. That's why I said I didn't want to call it a bad stoppage, right? But like B said, you want to see consistency, right? When somebody is getting beat up on, are we going to stop it, or are we going to let them fight through it? Because look, these things happen in UFC, right? Somebody gets wobbled, and they and they let them fight on, and the other person can't finish, and the other person finds a way to come back, and sometimes they pull it out. And this is the fifth round. It's the last round. There's like 2 minutes left in the round. Could Alex Pereira actually finish? Like this is the sport. Unfortunately, this isn't like boxing, right? When somebody gets knocked down, the fight still has to go over there and finish them, right? Mm-hmm. That's why hammer fist and everything, punching on the ground is legal. But no, he was hurt for sure. He was hurt, and he wasn't really throwing back. But like I said, I would have liked to see it go like we said a couple of seconds longer. But like I said, can't argue with it. Adi says the guy that fought Dan Hooker, I don't know what he was doing. I
forget his name. Was it Coelis, I believe?
I think that was a bad stoppage.
It
right?
was.
I think so. Talking about bad stoppage.
It wasn't. Like it was a bad stoppage in terms of when you should stop a fight, but it wasn't a bad stoppage in terms of just moving us along to the next one, because nobody needed to see any more of that.
What that guy is, the guy is a pure grappler, right? He's not. He doesn't really have a stand-up game. The guy got kicked in the solar plexus, and
he didn't appreciate it.
He got the wind knocked out of him. And you could tell like he's not a stand-up guy, because look, you get the wind knocked out of you. You got to move around a little bit to you get it back. He immediately went to the ground, and was hoping Dan Hooker would go Claudio Kulesi. I think that's it. Yeah, appreciate it, Ferris. But he went to the ground. He went to the ground hoping Dan Hooker would try to go and finish him, but Dan Hooker's like, nah, man, you too good on the ground. I'm not doing that. So the ref immediately made him get up. And that's the other thing too. I think the ref stepped in too quick there too. When he went to the ground, he made him get right back up. Well, no, hold on. Give Dan Hooker a chance to think about it first, right?
Yeah.
Right. If Dan Hooker's walking over there, even if he walks back a little bit, wait a second, right? But he's like, nope, you gotta get up. Right. Yeah. So then he gets kicked again, and he goes to the ground, and the ref stops it. You're not supposed to stop it there. He's not knocked out. Right. He wasn't giving himself up. It wasn't like, hey, I quit or anything like that. Like, yeah, he took a hard shot, but he went to the ground because he knows, hey, this is where I have the advantage. You know what I mean? Puelles?
Like Puelles, Claudio Puelles.
Oh, Puelles. Claudio Puelles. Okay. Yeah, I think that's one of those things though. It was like, look, this is the first match, and we're not doing this. So
yeah, I mean, he was only he's one of those guys like Ryan Hall who's only interested in leg submissions, in leg locks, and the way that you do that is you got to be on the ground, and you got to get the other person get their legs near you, right? He's not interested in standing up and fighting with you. But yeah, it was a ridiculously early stoppage. No, don't really want to complain about it because that was not a good fight, and I got us moving on the card, got us up to the Frankie Edgar fight. Frankie Edgar's last fight, thankfully. He was fighting, I believe it was Chris Gutierrez, and Gutierrez put him out with a knee to the face. Frankie helped him out by ducking into it, knocked him out, and that's the end of the Frankie Edgar show. And listen, I've never been like this big Frankie Edgar fan. I understand he was a great fighter and everything, but my man's been past it for a long time, and they've just been handing him spots that should be going to other more deserving fighters. So I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, because here's the thing: in UFC, Dana White loves kicking people out that like if they go on a losing streak, or the careers don't really get off the way they should. He has no problem cutting fighters. He does it all the time. But and I get somebody like Frankie Edgar that you want to you want to show him that respect because he was a great champion, right? But you letting fighters hang around for way too long. Ferguson was another one. Yeah, Chris says R.I.P. Frankie. Yeah, Ferguson was another one. Robbie Lawler is going to be on the next card. He should have been retired years ago, right? But you let these fighters hang around for way too long, and they're taking beatings that they should not be taking, man. Like Frankie Edgar is what, 41? Is that what they said? 41 years old? No, man. No, you're done. You're done.
And he's lost 6 out of his last 8, been knocked out in 5 of them.
Right. He should have been cut. Right. But he's not going to do that because he's a fan favorite. Right. And he understands that that's going to help sell tickets and help sell the card. So he lets these guys hang around. That's the only reason. So it's not a meritocracy, man. It's not about how good you are. It's about can you sell fights? So yeah, I'm not a fan of it. What's up, Brandon? Thanks for coming through, man.
What's going on, Brandon? But yeah, so back to Adesanya and Pereira. Do you guys want to see the rematch, or do you think that Pereira should be going in a different direction?
Well, you answer first, Mikey.
I think they got to run it back. I mean, I just think in the fashion that it happened, I think, I think Adesanya was winning the fight up until that point. So it wasn't a clear, it wasn't like one person was getting or he was getting dominated and then he just lost. No, I think they got running back. I'm sure Adesanya wants to run it back. So they gotta do that again. And I honestly think if they run it back, Adesanya will win. I think he'll make adjustments. Obviously he won't let himself get caught at the end like that, or don't have a law in those moments like he kind of did tonight, and then he'll come away with the win.
Yeah, I think Deshaun says, I think even if Izzy wins the rematch, nobody will take him seriously, being that it took him 4 tries. Who's nobody? He's ran through everybody in the middleweight division.
I think that's just a you thing, Deshaun. And listen again, kickboxing and MMA are different, so it would be two fights.
Well, when you say nobody, Deshaun, like who do you mean? Like who in that division could say, I got I figured out the secret to beating him now. He's ran through everybody almost twice now. He's beaten Whitaker twice, right? Vittori, I think he's beaten them twice.
Yeah. Beat Cannonier.
Beat Cannonier.
He beat Derek Brunson. He's beaten everybody in that division outside of Pereira at this point. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with Mike. I think that you got to have the rematch. I think Adesanya wins the rematch. And from there, I don't know where Pereira goes because he's already 35. But it'll be interesting.
Now this you guys know Robert Whitaker is my boy. I think he's the solid number 2 or 3, however you want to look at it now, because Alex Pereira is the guy right now. But no, I think it does need to be Adesanya. He was undefeated up to this point in the middleweight. He's held the belt for a long time. He should get an instant rematch, right? He should get an immediate rematch. So, yeah, Whitaker. If it's not him, I would say Whitaker. I I think he will lose to Whitaker too, to be honest. But no, give Adesanya a rematch, and then if he wins it again,
All right, Adi.
what did Adi say?
Izzy didn't beat sober Costa, so unfortunately his record doesn't make bouts.
Yeah. What do you say? You had too much wine or something like that?
Yeah.
Christian says no need to see a rematch. Izzy has been run over both in UFC and kickboxing. Props to Izzy though for giving us a good match. No, that's not
You
quite
don't
true.
need to see a rematch in the division that he's been ruling. Like he doesn't get a shot. He doesn't get a chance to win his belt back.
Right.
He and run over in UFC. He didn't get run over. He was winning the fight on every card.
Yeah.
I mean, he got caught at the end. He didn't get run over. That's not the case. That's not what happened.
So he shouldn't get another shot, huh? You think that this is it for him? He's washed now. I mean, look, it doesn't matter how great you are in this sport, man. You're gonna take L's. Unless you're John Jones.
It was all good a couple hours ago. Like, wow, just that quick. Like it's over for him.
Man, I said he was up 3-1. He got washed.
He got washed.
Look, B, this is you brought this up earlier. You said Dominic Reyes went from beating the GOAT to getting knocked out 3 times straight right after the John Jones effect was real. Yes. I said John Jones, is the only one that hasn't been beaten. But a lot of people will argue that Reyes won that fight. I wouldn't argue that. I thought he lost.
But he didn't.
Right. Yeah, Robert Whitaker ain't want those problems, and I love Bobby Knuckles. He don't want what problems with Pereira. I think he does.
Oh, he wants it, but he won't want it afterwards.
All right.
What I think he beats Pereira is he lost both KOs. Yeah, no, he lost both fights, and that's fine. But that doesn't mean you don't get they're different sports. He's been the middleweight champion for a long time. He's beaten everybody in the division, and he was beating Pereira. I won't say easily, but I mean he was up 3-1 when he got caught, late in the fight. So he absolutely deserves a rematch. Whether it happens, is a different question.
Even in the KO in kickboxing, that was controversial because people thought Adesanya, should have won that fight. It should have already been stopped before that. They gave Pereira a chance to get himself together, gave him a standing 8 count when he was knocked out on his feet, right? So, he didn't get washed in that fight either.
Deshaun saying, so are they the only 2 middleweights who are going to fight for the title that's going to get redundant? Well, look, Deshaun.
It's only the first time they fought.
Yeah, they fought one time.
This would be a rematch.
Adesanya, everybody else has had a title shot.
So
he beat everybody else. So I'm not sure why you would say he shouldn't get a rematch.
Well, you say redundant. Who should he fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, who? Okay, Adesanya doesn't get a rematch. Who should his next opponent be? Because he's literally beating everybody else. Right?
Yeah, and who should jump over him to get a title shot?
Yeah.
And if I'm Pereira, that's what I want. Like you said earlier, B, he's 35, right? So we all know that they don't pay. Dana don't open his checkbook for his fighters like that. So he's got to fight the money making fights, right? And
yes,
and that's the route to go if that's what he's going to do at 35.
Well, yeah. Well, I think a rematch is going to sell a whole lot more than this one, right? But I don't think UFC does a good job advertising their stuff, to be honest, right? I don't think they could have done a much better job of advertising this fight. But now that Pereira won, I think the rematch will sell a whole lot more, and Pereira can make a whole lot more.
It should for sure. But just looking at the rankings here, so we've got. Obviously, they haven't updated it on the site yet. Okay, you're saying Whitaker or Costa. Whitaker has been beaten by Adesanya twice. Costa got ran through by Adesanya. I mean, just totally washed. So Whitaker's the number 1 contender right now. Jared Cannonier, he got beat by Adesanya. Marvin Vettori got beat by Adesanya, I think, twice. Alex Pereira, obviously the champion. They haven't updated it yet. Derek Brunson got beat by Adesanya. Costa got beat by Adesanya. Sean Strickland got beat by Pereira. So, like, which one of these guys deserves a title shot? What have they done to deserve it?
Yeah. Let's see. Brandon says, y'all counting another another sports matches, it ain't the same. That's true. That's a good point. Let's see. Christian says, I think he should have a rematch with a sober Costa. Y'all buying into this? Y'all buying into this drunk Paulo Costa? I just want you to know, Paulo Costa also lost to Marvin Vittori.
Listen, I give Paulo Costa credit, man. He's done a great job, repairing his image. From getting dry humped in the ring and being a cheater into being a little bit of a social media star and a fan favorite. So that's great. But Costa is fighting Whitaker coming up in February. So I mean, if you want to argue,
Deshaun says Orgo recruit somebody from ONE FC. Y'all are really tough on somebody who took his first loss as a middleweight in the UFC. That is Izzy's first loss in the UFC. You know what? It's funny Deshaun saying this because if this was Deontay Wilder, he'd be like running back. Zeta Beast, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming through. Says John Jones still everyone's daddy. When that Taylor Rooks interview came out, I know it was GG for Izzy. Oh, good game for Izzy. Yeah. Hey man, look, you fight long enough, that's the nature of the sport. And it was a good fight. He was up, but like Mikey said, man, like you have to be on point until it's over. Right? It ain't over till it's over in this fight. Who is this, Ferris? Nasruddin Imavov should get the shot. I don't even know who that is.
He is the number 12 ranked middleweight.
Okay, stop. Okay.
Who's 12-3? He recently beat.
Hey, thank you, Christian. Appreciate that. Make sure you're following. I see you on Facebook. Make sure you follow the page. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that's hanging out with us. It's almost 2:00 a.m., man. Really appreciate you guys. All right.
The answer is that guy Imamov has not beaten anybody, and that's why he's ranked number 12.
I said Darren Till. Wait, is there Till middleweight?
Yeah.
He moved to middleweight.
Listen, the reality is there isn't really anywhere to go because of the fact that Adesanya has been so active and beaten all of the top middleweights. The only fight that actually makes any sense is a rematch. Now, you want to say, hey, they run it back.
Sorry, go ahead, B. Go ahead.
No. He said, Chris says if Izzy gets washed, then no immediate rematch. Izzy did not get washed in that fight. Like you guys have been saying, he was clearly up on the cards. Yeah. So I think what makes sense to me is these two running back, and then the winner of Costa Whitaker in February gets the next title shot after that rematch.
Yeah, it'll be Whitaker. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
I mean, I'm not 100% sure Whitaker wins that fight, but okay.
Well, look, you can never be 100% sure in UFC, but I'm in the 90s on that.
Wow.
I'm in the 90s on that. I think Whitaker washes Costa, and I like Costa. Let's see. Izzy look like true Ravens in the fourth. Wow. That's what Zeta V said. That hurts. But yeah.
That's a low blow, Z. That's a low blow at 2:00 in the morning, bro. On a bye week at that.
Yeah. After a win.
But y'all didn't have your hands up just like Izzy, so there it is.
Noah makes a good point, though. Noah makes a good point. He said, I had no idea this card was happening tonight until I hopped on ESPN the other day. But this is a problem I have with how UFC advertises their fights. This is a good card. This is a big fight. And, how many of y'all, unless you follow UFC like we do, when we follow UFC, and even still, there are some fights that come up, and we're just like, oh, man, I didn't know it was this weekend.
Well, yeah, like Mike, how aware of this fight were you leading up to it, like over the last month and a half?
Nah, I'm with Noah. Maybe a week or two.
Right.
And that's because I seen it and then we discussed it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's my job. It's that, right? Like they don't do a great job of getting the word out and promoting these events. but you put that up against the fact that they fast tracked Pereira to have this event. Why would you not be promoting it everywhere all the time?
Right.
Like you wanted that narrative, you wanted that story, you wanted, because Adesanya is a superstar talent, and this guy Pereira is kind of running through people in the UFC. You wanted that story. You say, hey, this is going to sell huge, and then you didn't tell anybody about it.
Adi says, Izzy isn't really a pay-per-view star if we're being truthful.
Nobody in the UFC is.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, who sells more? I think he's probably one of the highest selling. In fact, I know he's one of the highest selling pay-per-view guys, because he's got a big contract from the UFC. They're not giving that out for nothing. But right now, because Conor is done, right? Ronda Rousey's been done. Who sells in the UFC? Who's selling a pay-per-view like that? I think John Jones. He who knows if he comes back, right? But yeah, I think Izzy he might be one of the higher selling guys, right? I can't even think who would be above him right now.
I'd be saying Jorge sells more, and he's on a losing streak. One, I'm not 100% that's even true. 100% sure that's even true. But Jorge sold, the fight island went over 1 million, but there were 3 championship fights on that card, and I mean that card was stacked top to bottom. So you can't even really say it's Jorge selling fights. You put Jorge in with Kamaru Usman, is Jorge selling that fight? You put Jorge in with Nate Diaz, is Jorge selling that fight? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But the point is that there aren't guys in the UFC who really sell on pay-per-view. That's why they have that deal with ESPN that guarantees them, the equivalent of 500,000 buys for their show.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what did Masvidal and Covington do in pay-per-view buys. I don't think it did that well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, like Masvidal was a fad, right? Like he had that knockout. He talks a good game, but after that Ben Askren knockout, he hasn't. Well, no, he had one more fight against Diaz brother, and for the BMF belt, and that was his last win, and that was years ago, right? He hasn't won a fight since then, so yeah, you can talk, right? But if you don't ever back it up ever, nobody wants to pay to see that anymore. Oh, and we got a donation from Brandon. Hey, appreciate you, Brandon. I'm not sure if my screen grayed out a little bit. What's that say, that be?
It is for UFC thinks they can coast on rep.
Yeah, that's what it is. But okay, so Masvidal. So let's say I give you Masvidal. Okay, Nate Diaz sells. Nate Diaz hasn't been a headliner for or the main card for how long, right? Not since that BMF.
Adi, come on, man. Right. Sean O'Malley hasn't been out of the 5 slot on a main event card. You can't talk about him selling anything.
Hey, I like Sean O'Malley, but
I like Sean O'Malley too.
But he's not. He hasn't been the main event yet. All right, there's a reason for it. I think he's doing a great job marketing himself, though. Right, I think he can listen. I think Sean O'Malley can sell some fights, but will he sell more to Israel Adesanya? I don't think so. But we'll find out soon, because they're going to have him fight. What's his name? Who's the current champion? Why am I blanking on his name?
I'm not sure who they're going to have him matching up against.
They got to be Peter Yan.
Oh,
Aljamain Sterling, right? I think that's going to be the next fight. I think it's going to be against Aljamain Sterling. That should be, they should say, Aljo. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Adi. Sterling. Yep. Absolutely right. John Jones will always pull in numbers. Yeah, but John Jones ain't fighting like 2 years. Right? Like, but that's so that's the thing. Like the names that you guys are talking about, Sean O'Malley hasn't been the he's never put any pay-per-view points. He's never been the main fight, the main event on pay-per-view. So we can't even use Sean O'Malley. You can't say he sells when he's never sold one. John Jones has a fight in a while, right? Masvidal, I'm not sure. I think his last fight that sold was him and Usman, right, when he got knocked out. But a lot of that has to do with Usman as well, right? The Covington fight, I can't find any numbers. Usually, when you can't find pay-per-view numbers, that means they didn't do well. That's how UFC does it. If it doesn't do well, they're not going to post the numbers. If it does well, they'll post the numbers, right? So I'm gonna assume that Covington fight didn't do well, and he's not going to get another. He's not going to be on another main event. So how is he going to sell a pay-per-view, right? Like he doesn't win anymore. So
there you go, Ferris.
But Carla Esparza can sell 1 million pay-per-view buys. Hey,
right.
Carla
with the trolling at 2 a.m.
Shout out to Carla Esparza, man. I know she lost tonight, but I just found out that her nickname is Cookie Monster, and I approve of that name. Okay. Yeah, see, look, Deshaun saying the same thing, but again, you're referring to somebody who hasn't fought in 2 years. It's been about 2 years, right? His last fight was against Dominic Reyes, right? That was his last fight.
No, I think he had a fight since. He's had a fight since then, but
no, I don't think so. Because he wanted to move up to heavyweight after that. He didn't fight Blachowicz, and everybody saying, "Oh, he's ducking." And he's like, "Yo, I want big name fights from here on out." He moved up to heavyweight, and to fight Miocic, and they're trying to get him to fight Ngannou. He said, "Okay, I want some big time money to fight Ngannou," and they didn't want to pay him. He said, "Fine, like I'm good with retiring." He hasn't fought since then.
It can't. In my head, I say it can't be Reyes because that's been so long ago. But it was in fact Reyes in 2020 February.
Yeah. So okay. So I'll even give you John Jones. So John Jones, Jorge Masvidal. Who else did you say? We can't say O'Malley. O'Malley hasn't sold yet. So you're talking about 2 fighters, right? Yeah, man. Adesanya's up there. But no, even these like those guys, like no, like they're not selling huge numbers. But that's our point. You'll see they don't do a good job promoting these fights. Deshaun says Usman before the loss. I think Usman will still sell, right? Because they're going. I think that's another fight there's going to be a trilogy match actually because they fought before Usman beat him the first time, so this will be a trilogy. I think that one should do well if UFC does their job. UFC has a chance to really promote some big fights here. You got Usman and Edwards 3, right? You have oh, shout out to you, Ferris. Appreciate it. This thing is messing up my read that for me, B.
You know why this card rocked? Islam brothers.
But Adesanya Pereira 2, that should sell. So there's some intriguing cards here if they know how to promote it well. You guys know how I feel about Dana.
So here's the thing, and you got to take these numbers with a grain of salt all the time, right? Because UFC doesn't actually have to report numbers.
No.
But what is out there on a few sites is that Usman versus Leon Edwards, the rematch, did 360,000, which was my assumption is why I looked it up because Usman does not sell. They don't have stars who sell.
Well, is that good or bad for UFC? Right? If that's boxing, that's pretty good.
Well, no, I mean, look, it's solid. It's great for UFC because they don't pay their fighters, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about guys who sell. They're talking about stars. Stars sell near 1 million or over. Conor McGregor went over 1 million every time he went out, just about.
Yes.
And they don't have that kind of star power anywhere on this roster.
Yeah.
What's the price? What's the price of the pay-per-views? For
75. As you know, because you just ordered it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah. Big Shot Mike don't have to check the statements.
Right.
It's whatever.
As he said, UFC could be paying the fighters more money. I think that was all Dana needed to hear to put Izzy on his bad side. He just paid Izzy a lot of money. Like he may not like Izzy, but like he needs some stars. right? I know you guys don't think he has a lot of star power, but he has some of the higher star power in UFC. And you have fighters that are making better decisions, better business decisions now. And they're not just taking any fight and they're asking for more money and they're saying, hey, well, if you're not going to pay me, I'll go do something else. Right. And you're seeing like that's why I said like he's got real beef with Jake Paul. Good. You see Jake Paul set up these boxing matches for these former MMA fighters making more money than they've ever made in a single fight, just doing this boxing match. And right now, it's silly, right? It's funny until he starts saying, okay, I'm gonna step back from this and I'm gonna, I'm gonna pay some of you guys to really just start your boxing career over here. Or, we start a little MMA thing over here or something like that. But there's a real threat right there for Jake Paul. He's gotten a lot of MMA fighters a lot of money, right? And if he starts saying stuff to like Sean O'Malley, right? Hey, yeah, you can do UFC thing, man, but I can get you paid with this boxing over here. And I ain't saying you gotta fight me. You can go do a real match and I get you set up real nice. Sean O'Malley is a businessman. I've seen his interview on The Pivot. If you haven't seen his interview on The Pivot, listen to that man talk. He is all about business. All right.
Yeah. Jose, do you have the Stream Elements link?
I didn't post it. I'm so sorry. I did not post it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull it up here because I'm on limited operations over here.
And when we talk about the sales numbers between trying to compare them to boxing and UFC, you always got to remember that boxing is selling one fight and UFC is selling 3 to 5, right? Like this card had again 2 championship matches on it with the main event and the co-main with Whaley and Esparza, and it had another fight with a former champion in Dustin Poirier. You don't see those kind of cards in boxing, but you're still not hitting the same kind of numbers that you do in boxing. Recently boxing has been trying to build up their cards, but they do it with prospects who haven't really won anything. In the UFC, you're talking about stacking the card with champions and still falling short of 1 million buys. And it's because they don't do a great. It's not about the quality of the show. It's not about the talent of the fighters. Because they put on great events. They have a lot of great fighters. It's about the fact that they just don't promote them well.
Yeah. Okay. I put it in there. I'm gonna try to pin it. Well, I won't pin it. I don't want this to freeze up on me. But yeah, that is the link to Stream Elements. It's there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All right. Those are ways you can support.
Chris says Sage Northcutt is the UFC's only hope at a star. And I can tell you, for a fact, just by the fact that his name is Sage Northcutt, that he is not a star.
Shout out to Noah for the $5 tip. Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you,
shout out to you brothers for the late night stream. Much appreciation, fellas. Hey, thank you, Noah.
Thank you, Noah.
Appreciate that. And yes, I'm not in my regular setup. That's why I'm a little choppy and my screen kind of grays out a little bit. But Microphone Man is still giving you the raised fist. All right, all right. You don't want to know what I had to go through to make sure that happened, but I made it happen. Adi said CM Punk, man, they tried with CM Punk. He didn't work out.
CM Punk can't even sell wrestling these days.
Yeah. Chris said he was kidding Ferris. Listen, Chris, Ferris is Ferris can get wound up pretty easily. Okay. He can get wound up really, really easily. Yeah. But it's UFC's job to help manufacture stars. This is what boxing does. It's annoying to see it in boxing, right? That it takes forever sometimes for fighters to fight, but each promoter is protecting their fighter's brand, right? They're building their brand to get to a point where a fight makes sense. We talk about Tank Davis, and you hear Leonard Ellaby talk about it all the time. Hey, man, yes, there's a lot of other excellent fighters out there for Tank to fight, but what do they sell? He brings it up every time. What do their numbers look like? Does it make sense? Right? We don't want to do fight unless it's going to sell a certain amount of tickets, because otherwise I got to split. We got to split with this guy a bigger share because he might have a belt or two, whereas he could take a small cut with this guy and make just as much money, right?
I'm
What are you
sorry.
laughing at?
I was like, you know why Ferris has such a short fuse? Islam. I only
Checkmate.
brought that up because it's 2 a.m, man. We can't have people seeing that. No. Come on, man. All right.
Ferris,
Yeah,
so you can't detect tone through text. I can detect your tone. Okay,
yeah, all the
you're
time.
probably
It's
cursing
not-
us
it's
right
not
now
answered.
while you talking to your customers, right, at work. What you saying, V?
You know why Noah's about to get his ass kicked? Islam and my foot.
Yo, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, this
all
is a great event for UFC in which they just had to they had to play their commercial for their next pay-per-view coming up December 10th. Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prochazka.
I was going to say,
And-
don't even say the name. I was going to ask, does anybody know what the next event is?
My bad.
Right.
But they probably didn't even hear me, so they can put it in the chat anyway. That's coming up December 10th, and there's already 2 boxing events on December 10th, and I'm just like, who do they think is gonna buy all these pay-per-views?
I have a question for the chat. If any of you guys watch boxing as well, which is going to sell more? The next UFC event on December 10th?
Wait. Do you know what the boxing pay-per-view on December 10th is?
Do they know?
Because there are 2 boxing events on December 10th. Only one of them is on pay-per-view. Do you know who it is? Anybody?
I'll give you a hint.
And then you know where to find it.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to let them know. I want to let them know. Ferris doesn't know. It's all right, Ferris. It's on an app. It's on an app. I'll get look. Let's see. Not a clue. Brandon doesn't know.
Not a clue. Tank versus Gervonta. Adi, you got it.
Nobody knows. Okay, all right. It is. See, that's why. Look, before I answer,
Tank versus Ryan. No, that's not signed.
Before I give you the answer, I'm gonna tell y'all that's why y'all need to be subscribed right over here. Okay, Ring Kings Podcast. Let me take down this banner for a second. Ring Kings Podcast. Right. If you're subscribed over there, you have the answer. All right. We have two podcasts, recent podcasts.
Nah, Ferris, like an app that you can only get on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess that's not true. They do have it on TVs also.
All right. So the app is called BLK Prime. Okay. BLK Prime. And the fight is Bud Crawford versus David Avanesyan.
A top 3 pound-for-pound fighter in the world is fighting on an app called BLK Prime against David Avanesyan, and nobody knew.
Yeah.
So that's why I told you, Glover Teixeira is going to outsell Bud Crawford.
Who's going to sell more? Glover Teixeira? Yeah, they'll sell more. They'll sell more.
Bud said he's gonna turn up. So
they're gonna turn up, baby. Listen, if BLK, I'm telling y'all right now. So we talked about it on our podcast. BLK Prime had like 5,000 downloads. Okay, when I checked it before, they have 5,000 downloads. If they end up selling like a huge amount of pay-per-views, there's some money laundering going on here. Okay, I don't believe it. What's up, Danity? Danity's here.
What's up, Danity? That's not Al Heyman's fault, Ferris. Bud Crawford walked away from that fight and decided that he was going to fight Avanesyan for $10 million and then come back to the negotiating table. That's all.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Chris. Teofimo is fighting. We're actually going to be at that fight in the Garden. Teofimo against Jose Pedraza. Also on that card, we got Jared Anderson, a top heavyweight prospect. Xander Zayas, one of the best prospects out there. He's at, I believe he's at welterweight right now.
Yeah.
And then Keyshawn Davis.
Keyshawn Davis
at lightweight, another great up and coming prospect, all on that Teofimo card. So it should be fun.
And if you don't know about these fighters,
that's
a card. And if you don't know about any of these fighters, check out Ring King's podcast where we've done a watch list video on at least 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. When's Bivol Canelo rematch? They haven't said it yet. In fact, Bivol said he wants
And no, I don't know why I said welterweight. Xander's at light middleweight, 154.
Yeah, and I co-signed you.
I'm not thinking straight.
So Bivol say he wants Better BF next. So we'll see, right? And I think Canelo's still healing. He said he needed some time to heal his hand or something like that. So who knows? Chris says we gotta talk. Yes. Okay. Yes. Hit us up.
Yeah, Ferris, big babies fighting.
I'm surprised Sadiq didn't troll us in the chat, because Sadiq picked Alex Pereira too. All right, he texted me right afterwards. Yeah, look, our nephew Sadiq is the biggest hater. Okay, if anybody is favored or liked, he's gonna go the other way. Okay, Danny said, "Y'all sleepy?" Listen, I'm old. I'm always sleepy.
Yes, Danity. You don't see what time it is? What are you trying to say, Danity? You trying to say that you can see in the quality of the show that we're sleepy?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Man, one time I can't remember which one it was, but we did one of these things, man. I was sleepwalking through it. Like, I can't remember what I said in it. I know my words were slurred. It was hard to get through.
I'm wide awake compared to the other streams that we have done after fights.
Yeah.
But hey, Dandy, the other guy's here.
Yes, it's the other guy. The other one.
He didn't say hello.
Hello, Dandy. The other guy's here.
Brandon said, "I am sleep, y'all, on audio mode on my phone." Man, appreciate you, Brandon. Thanks for
Thank you
for hanging strong with us. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here soon, man. We hit our hour mark. Yeah, but no, good card overall. Good card, and congratulations to Alex Pereira, man. He toughed it out, right? I don't want to take that away from him. It was not luck.
No,
right?
no.
It I thought the Leon Edwards thing was kind of luck. This wasn't luck. He gritted it out, because he went from almost getting put away in the first round to just getting worn out on the ground, and he had enough left in the tank in the 5th round to put away Israel Adesanya. So he earned it. Salute to him. But absolutely, Adesanya deserves a rematch. I said, hey y'all, which one? Which includes him, and I subscribe to his channel. Hey, yes, Mikey.
Yes, she is. She
yes,
appreciate you, Danity,
and commenting on the video. We appreciate you, Danity.
Danity is one of our biggest supporters. We really appreciate it.
We already have gone all night. It is 2:21 a.m.
And speaking of,
that's the morning.
Speaking of Mikey's channel, let's play that real quick. Open mic with OTR Mike, new episode coming out on Monday. All right. So make sure you guys are subscribed, like Danity said. Awesome content, man. Mikey talks about all kinds of stuff. You get a little bit of sports, you get a little bit of fatherhood, just anything that's on his mind, man. If you got something that you want to talk about, shoot him a message. Okay. You can follow him on Twitter and TikTok. Is it OTR _Mike? Twitter and TikTok OTR _Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And then Instagram is OTR Mike _.
Yes.
See, I'm getting it. All right. So make sure you follow him over there. Yeah, man. Holla at him. Okay. He has a lot of life experience and knowledgeable, all kinds of things, and just great conversation to have with them. All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, a couple more comments. We are getting out of here, man. Ferris, man, Ferris says all night means staying up till the sun comes up. Yeah, you already know that's not happening. That's not happening.
That's not what it means.
Yeah. Noah says new episode. Yeah, man. He said let's go. Every Monday we put that out at 5 a.m. crack of dawn.
Mhm.
Whether you listen to the audio, if you are an audio listener, make sure you follow him, follow all of us, follow Ring Kings, Lunch Break Hot Take, Open Mic. Okay, for all of us. But his audio goes out at 5 a.m. Ring Kings goes out at noon on Mondays. Every Monday you're getting all of us. Okay. And then of course, Lunch Break Hot Take every Wednesday, the LBHTShow, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time, right? And then that audio goes out on Thursday at noon on your lunch break. All right. So that's the schedule. That's the schedule. Ferris says 5 a.m. No, who's staying until 5 a.m.? That's not happening. Oh, no. He's saying 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. is when it goes out. Yeah, that's when it goes out.
And then it's available every hour after that, Ferris. Don't worry about it. Okay.
It's not a live stream, Ferris.
I just
stream.
gotta say that ever since Danity asked the question, I am really feeling it. I'm very sleepy.
Me too. I am definitely fighting it over here. I'm sure
Danity brought it to front of mind.
If you go and rewatch, you'll probably see me dozing off on here somewhere.
Another strong endorsement of the content.
All right, fellas. Any final words before we get out of here? Any final thoughts?
Man, good fight. I think they need the rematch. My guy, my favorite UFC fighter. It's a champ now. We'll see what he does with it.
Yeah. B, what about you?
It was a great card. I wish that they would have pushed it more than they did, and I wish that they didn't follow it up with a garbage card on December 10th.
Well said. Yeah, good card, man. UFC knows how to put them together from time to time, man. It's just I just wish they would do it a little bit more consistently. Well, you can do it more consistently by having less of these fights because it's less than a month that you're having the next pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
And it's a pay-per-view that nobody wants to see, man. But UFC just wants to squeeze every last dollar out of you, man. It's draining. But yes, this card was very good, man. Salute to Alex Pereira getting the KO over my boy Izzy. But I think Izzy will be back, running back again. Shout out to Dustin Poirier for that win. Where's he go from there? We'll see. Actually, I don't think Islam Makhachev is a move for him either. But it is what it is. Appreciate you coming through, Chris.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, man. Thank you everybody for staying up this late, man. Next Sunday, Panthers versus Ravens. Stream on Wednesday. Yes. So, all right. Yes. Yeah. Very exciting week coming up here. Again, yeah. Thank you guys very much. B, are you ready?
I am ready.
And if anybody that's new in here on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I see 17 people in here. I see a couple of likes on Facebook. I hope you guys are following, liking the Facebook page. And I see some people on Twitch as well. Hit the follow over there on Twitch and anything else that's good over there on Twitch. I'm not sure what you Twitch people do over there, but if it's good, go ahead and do that real quick. All right, we are out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time. Peace out.